What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully your Friday has been going quite well. Today is actually a much calmer day than yesterday was, so that is actually really good news. But I do have a bunch of stuff that I want to get to, so let's begin. First, I want to address where Democrats are at this point, because right now some are going to be shocked, but they are fighting for a certain thing. And you may be wondering, well, what is that? Is it infrastructure? Is it stimulus? Is it for the American people? What is it? Well, reports are indicating that Democrats really want, and what they're fighting for, is equality. They want to see that every single person in the United States has a fair and honest chance to actually succeed. They don't want to see that the gap between the rich and the poor keeps widening. So what do Democrats plan to do? They plan to figure out ways to narrow that gap. So here's what we know. In doing so, in trying to narrow this gap, first, Democrats have vowed to reduce the poverty rate. That is one of the things they want to do, is they want to lift people out of poverty. The first thing that they did was they provided stimulus checks. According to reports, the $1,400 stimulus check lifted millions of people out of poverty. However, they're just going to fall right back into poverty if the stimulus checks don't continue, which as of right now, there's no guarantee we see a fourth stimulus check, but there's also no guarantee that the fourth stimulus check turns into a monthly recurring check. So I just want to be 100% clear, even though there's reports and even though there's talks of a monthly recurring payment, most do not expect that to actually happen because it would be very expensive. And currently the bills that are being discussed all are open-ended, which means they start at a certain date. However, they don't end until the state of emergency is over with or this pandemic is done. And because of that, some are saying that that would never pass with Republicans, and centrist Democrats would never vote for that or vote in favor of that either. So we will see what happens there. But here's what we know as of last month. As of last month, the U.S. had a poverty rate of 11.7%. That is actually worse than the beginning of this pandemic. Well, of course it's worse than the beginning of this pandemic because many people that went on unemployment actually got the $600 per week, which was great. Those people were lifted out of poverty in most cases. However, as soon as that ended, they fell right back into poverty. They went right back underneath the poverty line. So what some are saying is that the $300 actually doesn't keep many people above the line. It still keeps them below the poverty rate. And that is critical, and that's what Democrats are looking at. What we know, Democrats plan to fix this one way or another. Here's what they plan to do. Some reports are saying they could just simply tax the wealthy and bring the gap down. So instead of the wealthier individuals making more money, they actually tax them more and it will lower their income. Or, which more people are in favor of the second option, is, well, let's actually fix the issue. And instead of just making the wealthy and actually bringing them down and giving them a higher tax rate, why don't we provide for the little guys? Why don't we provide for those that were making very little, give them a little bit more money, push them above the line? That's what more people are saying. So right now, they are discussing things like another stimulus check and possibly a monthly check and monthly payments. These are also things like the child tax credit as well. They want to extend the unemployment benefits for lower income individuals because these are the ones that are hurt the most. Higher income earners are not really impacted when they are let go from their job because usually the higher income earners can usually find another job fairly quickly. We also know that Democrats want to increase the minimum wage up to $15 per hour. However, that's not going to go into effect until 2025. And right now, what I can tell you is, even at $15 per hour, you're only making, at the end of the year, you're making like $28,000. If you work 40 hours per week, 160 hours per month, times 12 months, it is $28,800, I believe. So just understand that you're still not making $30,000 and you're making $15 per hour. Currently, the minimum wage at $7.25 per hour, which is less than half, you're going to make under $14,000. under $14,000 in some states that you only get paid $7.25 per hour. That is not great. Now, we also, and these are good provisions. All these things that Democrats want are good. They'll help people out, but some say they are just too slow. The stimulus check is going to help people immediately. The unemployment benefits, well, we got to wait till after September 6th, and then it's going to help more people. The child tax credits, which is another big one, that's one that they want to extend and make it a permanent fixture in the tax code. But as of right now, that doesn't go into effect until July, but that's already been passed. So July through December is already passed. Now they're looking at actually January 1st, 2022, because that's something that it's still in limbo. They're still continuing to talk about it. So as of right now, there's a lot of discussions, but what I can tell you is Democrats are looking for ways to narrow that gap. And so again, tax the wealthy, bring them down, and give the lower income individuals more income. Bring them up. That will narrow the gap in both ways. So we will see what happens there. Now, these are all considered good provisions according to experts, that these will help out millions of people. But some lawmakers are stating that this doesn't help those that are receiving Social Security. So it doesn't help SSI, SSDI. It doesn't help them. It also doesn't help those with past student debts, and it doesn't help those that racked up credit card debt just to make it through this pandemic. So that's what some lawmakers are saying is, that's great. These are really good provisions, but we're missing this whole other group of people over here. And we can't leave them out, because if we help this group, we leave this group out, this group will fall into poverty, this group will be lifted out, and then we still have the same issue. It's just we just kind of change who was considered the poorer individuals and families here in the United States. So we will see. But what we know is the poverty rate soared because unemployment doesn't make you rich. And a lot of people say, well, we got unemployment benefits. Nobody should be under the poverty rate because we have unemployment benefits. Well, unemployment benefits don't make you rich. Even a $15 per hour job is not going to make you rich. It will make you be able to pay to an actual livable wage here in the United States. But in some areas, $15 is actually going to mean you are making very little. You go to somewhere like San Francisco, $15 per hour, you're not going to make it. You will not make it in San Francisco. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And based on the reports out today, Democrats, they have a plan that they say could change Congress for the better. What Democrats want, they say that for years, Mitch McConnell has allowed bills to just sit on his desk because he either doesn't agree with them or he just doesn't want to debate them. But now Democrats say is the time to change, and there needs to be a different solution. Here's the solution that Democrats want. Democrats are now calling to end the filibuster. They're saying that right now, meaningful legislation is just being pushed around. It's not even being discussed because of the filibuster. And if you don't know what the filibuster is, the filibuster requires 60 votes in the Senate. That is the rule. You have to have 60 votes to pass a bill. However, there is something called a budget reconciliation, which Democrats used to pass the American Rescue Plan, which actually provided $1.9 trillion in stimulus and other bills and other funding for different things. So what I can tell you right now is that, yes, the 60 vote filibuster in the Senate is hurting some bills, but at the same time, it does say, or experts do say, that this is what is making Congress actually debate things. If the filibuster was not here, Congress would not debate, they would not worry about it, they would just pass whatever bill they could. Currently, the Senate is split up 50-50, which means the filibuster, as of right now, it's in effect. But it makes it very difficult to get 10 Republicans on board with any bill. What we do know is that most Democrats do agree that this needs to be gone, but some senators, specifically Senator Joe Manchin out of West Virginia, he has been opposed to getting rid of the filibuster. Even President Biden has said he does not want to get rid of the filibuster. However, making changes to it would be a good idea. So, even though they're saying let's get rid of the filibuster, chances are they're just going to make some changes to it. And when they make these changes, chances are it's going to make it almost impossible for Republicans to block whatever bills are coming down the pipeline. So Some experts say that the filibuster would create more chaos than anything else. This was also reiterated by Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell as well. They say that the filibuster makes both parties attempt to work together and that this creates order in Congress. However, some argue that and say no, it doesn't create order, it just creates more controversy. What I can tell you is that we are going to see more and more of a push from Democrats to get rid of the filibuster or at least change it. They know that passing a minimum wage increase to $15 per hour will not happen with a filibuster, or at least it will not happen with Republicans trying to get their support. What I can tell you, people like Mitt Romney, Kyrsten Sinema, they do support an $11 per hour minimum wage. However, it's interesting because Kyrsten Sinema, their minimum wage in Arizona is over $12, yet she's proposing something that is less than what they get in Arizona. So it's interesting how that kind of plays out, but that is something that we do know. Democrats believe that since 84 million people voted for President Biden, that it must mean that everybody in the country must want to see a Democratic policy. But at the same time, we got Republicans that argue, no, that is not what we want. We didn't vote for that guy. That is not our president. So no, we don't want to see these policies. But as of right now, what I can tell you is Democrats do hold the power. We will see what they do. We do know that Democrats want to see the filibuster fall. They don't want to see it any longer. We also know they want to see an additional stimulus check. Some want a monthly $2,000 stimulus check. Others are saying that they would be happy with $1,000. And some are saying that $1,000 or a $2,000 stimulus check instead of a $1,000 check, but just a one-time check would suffice for now. So what I can tell you is all these different things, all these different ideas, these different agendas and debates and proposals and bills, all this stuff is supposed to be crammed into the infrastructure bill. As of right now, the infrastructure bill is having a tough time getting support from Democrats, not to mention Republicans. But Democrats are not on board with the current $2.25 trillion infrastructure bill. And some are saying that no, they won't be able to get behind the roughly $1 trillion infrastructure bill that is potentially going to be unveiled sometime this next week. So what I can tell you is President Biden has a very, very tough, very, very tall task. It's going to be a tough situation to try to get all Democrats on board with the provisions and proposals that he is providing. But some experts say they do anticipate this bill will be passed before Congress goes on their August recess. What I can tell you is if that's the case, if it gets passed before August, chances are, or if it gets passed within the next few months, chances are what's going to happen is we are going to see a compromise between what President Biden has proposed and what Republicans have proposed at $568 billion. We're going to see a compromise somewhere. Chances are it's going to be anywhere between $1 and $1.5 trillion. It will be a bipartisan bill. It will get at least 10 Republicans on board in the Senate to vote for this. But as soon as Congress comes back from their August recess, chances are we would see a budget reconciliation bill, which would end up passing the rest of the infrastructure package that President Biden and Democrats have proposed. So either way, we're going to see it all. It just depends on how we see it. Will it be a bipartisan bill? Will they split it up? Will they do two separate bills? Chances are, as of right now, experts are saying that has the most likely option of passing. So as we know more, I promise I will come back and I'll fill you in on all the updates. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful Friday. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.